my fellow readers. In this video, I'm going to talk about Call of the Night by Kotoyama. This is a new vampire manga. I actually wasn't going to pick this up. I don't know. I don't know how I ended up picking it up, sort of on a whim. But I've sort of like lost a lot of interest in vampires. That sounds so weird, but sometimes I'm really into like vampire stories, and then other times I'm just like, no. And I've been sort of like on a more frame of mind recently, even though I've finished Lament of the Lamb. I don't know. Anyway, this one, published by Viz. So in this one, Nazuna is a vampire that's okay with human Ko. He wants to be one too, but transformation doesn't come that easily. One sleepless night, Ko slips out to walk the streets. Life after dark is a revelation. When flirtation Nazuna invites Ko to spend the night at her place in an abandoned building, he's stoked. But then he awakens to kisses on his neck with a little too much bite to them. Is it just the delicious taste of his blood that makes her meet him night after night for late night adventures, conversation, and naps, or something else? Then, when a cute girl from Ko's past shows up and competes for his attention, his budding relationship with the undead is put to the test. So, yeah, there's kind of like love story undercurrents, a bit of innuendo perviness. That sounds really weird, but that's the honest truth of it. And it's kind of young based. I think Ko is still in middle school. So at this point they are, or appear to be, very young characters. I don't know how young Nazuna is supposed to be. She's very adult a lot of the time, which I could get into some ick with that. I think that's part of why I don't really always like vampire stories, because there is this weird ick factor. But I'm saying that even when she was turned, I think would have been older, because like she's seen drinking alcohol, which I'm presuming would make her an adult, or more adult-ish. Whereas he's still a middle schooler. And I don't, it might not be a huge age difference. No, it would still be pretty bad. I mean, whatever. Anyway. But there is kind of these vibes about whether or not there's a possible romance budding between the two of them, or does she just like him for his blood? So he does follow her. She thinks that she puts him to sleep. She doesn't. He's awake. And she sucks his blood. And she's like, man, he tastes good. And he's like, this could be my escape, because he's not satisfied with his life as it is. And so he becomes obsessed with becoming a vampire. And how does it happen? And if I'm not mistaken, in order for him to turn into a vampire, she has to fall in love with him. So I think he does sort of set out on a mission where he's like, one, he'll be her source of blood during this time. Like he's cool with that, because he wants some excitement and adventure in his life. But he says, but I think in the back of his mind, his goal, and she does know that he wants to be a vampire, but I think in the back of his mind, his goal is, if he keeps hanging around with her, keeps giving blood and whatever, that she will come to love him and turn him. And that's what he really wants. He wants to be turned into a vampire. He wants a different life. He wants a new life. And so this seems like the best solution, is to get to be a vampire. Toward the end, I think. I don't think it's in the middle. I think it's more toward the end. He does run into an old friend of his who does seem to present a rival character. Like, could he find acceptance in normal human interaction and life? That's what this character presents. This is just volume 1, so I don't have a lot to go on. I do think, and maybe I bought it with that, maybe I bought this too giveaway. I don't know. This will be going into my library's collection, and I'm fine with that. I'll probably continue like reading because I do kind of want to know where they're going to go with this story. It's not my favorite because I think a lot of it is on a more... I don't want to be... Like, that sounds insulting. But I think it is aimed more toward the middle school to high school boy readership. And that's fine. These are ones I like to just kind of read and not really... Like, I'm not going to become a passionate, like, devotee to Call of the Night. But it's kind of fun. It's kind of a fun, quick read. You get a little of the vampire thing and you move on. So I'll probably just see where they're going with this and whether Ko is going to choose to really be a vampire or whether he's going to choose his human life. Is there going to be a time jump at all, or is he going to stay young? Like, these are questions I always have. I think a lot of times they like to keep the characters young. But even if there was like a time jump at the end when she does fall from and turn him into a vampire or something like that, I would like that more than him being like a young boy. Also, I think it's a shame that, you know, I think about what he could be missing out on. Again, I think this is why I get put out of vampire stories, because I think a lot of times, especially when you have a young protagonist, and yes, I'm including Twilight as well with this whole thing, is they're so willing to like give up their lives. And yeah, I mean, I was a teenager and I know you definitely feel that way sometimes, where you're just so fed up with life and how controlling it is for you. You don't have a lot of freedom. You don't have a lot of ability to make your own choices. I get it. But there's so much out there that, like, these stories where they make a big decision, like, dude, you wouldn't be human anymore. You'd be a vampire. You'd have to live off of blood forever. I don't know. Again, I'm not so enamored by vampires. I can read a good vampire tale, but, like, to me, no. I wouldn't want to live a really long time, and definitely not by being a vampire. I couldn't imagine having to, like, live off of blood. Ugh, it's gross. So, I'm not, like, a huge uber fan of this, but it's also not terrible. It's just kind of a quick read, not too much thought going into it. Like, not that it doesn't make you think. I mean, just like I didn't have to overly think about anything. I don't know. It was just nice. It was fun. It was quick. That's about it. That's it for this video. Until next time. Bye.